Today, the seed that falls in the weeds and the thorns, well, it sprouts up, but it says the weeds sprout up too, and the weeds choke it out, and it doesn't bear any fruit. What are those weeds? Well, when Jesus explained that, he said that the weeds are the worries, the riches, and the pleasures of life. The worries or anxieties, riches, and pleasures of life. I think it's good to ponder weeds for a moment. I'm looking at an old farmer there who's fought a bunch of weeds in your life, I'm sure. And I've raised a garden most of my life, and maybe you have too. You plant your garden, and you don't look out the next morning and the weeds are chest high. That's not how it happens, is it? After a few days, you got the ground tilled all so nice, and you got your seeds planted, and then they just start to come everywhere, don't they? And they're really tiny. They're so small. You can barely see them. And if your soil is loose, you go out there with a hoe or a rake and you can just, destroy them so easily. Well, that's the first thing I think we need to learn is take care of the weeds before they get big. It's so much easier to take care of them. And in our life, these things that try to choke out Jesus and his message, try to take care of them when they're small. Because when they get really big, next to my garden, there's a bean field, and they sprayed it with Roundup, but they didn't get the edges very good. And at the end of my garden, the weeds in that bean field are at least as high as the ceiling here.
Oh my.
I mean, they're at least 10 feet tall. And the beans underneath, you can't even find them. They're thick and they're 10 feet tall. And that's exactly what the Lord was talking about, that it just chokes everything out. But every one of those 10-foot tall weeds started off about that big. And it could have been eliminated so easily then. And every day we let things go on, it gets harder and harder to get the weeds out. But then you hoe them and you rake them and they're all gone. And you wait another 4 or 5 days and dad burn it, they're all coming back. And that's the way it is. That's why I have to give a talk about perseverance, because you can never stop. In this journey of following Jesus, you can never stop. As I said last week, St. Paul talks about, I have finished the race. We have to keep running the race till the end of our life. And if we do, we achieve eternal life. Remember the verse that I started off with. He who perseveres to the end will be saved. He who perseveres to the end will be saved. And everybody has to persevere. You never have it made. And we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. But it's a good thing to repeat. You never have it made. I was reading a book about St. Vincent Ferrer. He's one of my favorite saints. You might never heard of him, but he's fantastic. He died in 1419. And Spanish priest. And he just did so many miracles. I love the guy. You should read a biography of him someday. And he was a few years before the end of his life, and he went all around Europe preaching and doing miracles, converted hundreds of thousands of people. But St. Dominic, he was the founder of the Dominican order, the order of preachers, of which St. Vincent Ferrer was a member. And one day St. Dominic appeared to him and told St. Vincent, persevere in the path that you have chosen. And he said, and you will merit. He said, God's very pleased with you. And he said, if you persevere until death, you will have the happiness in heaven that I have right now. I got to thinking about that. St. Vincent Ferrer, if you knew him, the guy did tens of thousands of miracles. He converted hundreds of thousands of people. He prayed and fasted, and he's like this awesome, saintly person. And yet, St. Dominic came and told him, persevere. Was he having thoughts about not persevering? I don't know. You would think a person like that would just be able to put it on cruise control. But we can't. We must continuously advance in the faith until the end of our life.